So today we are honored to have with us Julie Ulrich. She is one of our elder care coordinators, and we're going to be spending some time over the next 30 plus or minus minutes talking about what an elder care coordinator is, focusing really on how to help your loved ones get the best care possible. I'll do a little bit of an introduction as to what it's all about, and then we'll start talking with Julie. You should be able to see Julie there as well. Making sure we're getting some, there she is, good. All right, so let's see here. Just one more moment, guys, and we'll get started. Okay. All right, good. Oh, we're back big again. Hold on. Just verifying the screen share. Good. Okay, so getting started. So today, again, we are very fortunate to be starting our new Conversations on Planning series, where we're talking about navigating your second half, dealing with aging issues, dealing with the sandwich generation, dealing with caregiving and aging parents, legal issues, financial issues, care issues, residential issues. So we'll be doing this once a month. The plan is the fourth Wednesday of every month. We'll be dealing with and focusing on conversations on planning and helping you navigate your second half, whether it's for you yourself or for an aging loved one. All right. But to kick this off, again, we have Julie Ulrich with us, our own Julie Ulrich. But by way of introduction, let me take a few minutes as to why or how this is important. For example, the big picture is that when it comes to elder law, what we call elder care, we look at the whole person. Our services address the legal, the financial, and the care issues. And today is about how and why, okay? But by way of definition, when somebody typically thinks of a law firm, right, what they're focusing on is law, they're thinking legal, okay? That makes sense. Now, when somebody thinks of an elder law firm or they think about an estate planning firm, that really brings in the financial component, because you're talking about how do I protect my assets? How do I deal with taxation? How do I shelter my income? How do I get care paid for? So elder law and estate planning, you start looking at legal and financial. Now, back about 15, 16 years ago, I've been practicing since 98. So that was 23 years ago, I started elder law and planning. But about 05-ish, I started realizing that there is a tremendous aspect of my work, of my practice, that I'm missing, because I was just focusing on the legal and the financial. And clients were coming to us, being referred by a nursing home or a home care agency, and they were being told they have to protect the house, or they're being told they have to apply for Medicaid. So as I'm talking to the spouse or the children, you start unraveling the issues. You start peeling back the layers of the onion, as they say. And yes, you do have to protect your assets. And yes, you do actually have to apply for Medicaid, but why? And the more you ask the question why, it really comes down to the very, very simple, but yet very, very important fact that your loved one needs help. It's about that. And I was missing that about 15 years ago. Most elder law firms focus just on the legal and the financial. And that was me when I first started practicing. So with that revelation, I started looking at the fact that we have to start dealing with the care issues that most people, most families are dealing with. Now, to help illustrate that, what we rely on sometimes is what we call the elder care continuum. And the elder care continuum is just that. It's a continuum. It's a process, an aging process. So if you look here on the top of your screen, and by the way, for those of us that are for those of you that are on the phone, if you wish to see this live, you can certainly go to our website or go to our video tab on our website, tullyelderlaw.com. Under the navigation bar, it says video. Click on that. It'll say webinars. And then by the end of today or early tomorrow morning, the latest, this will be up and you can see this visually represented. But our continuum starts off on the left and it crosses over, processes over to the right. And you'll see on the left, a gentleman standing there with no cognitive or functional limitations. But then as we age, right, things happen. Now you have a picture of the gentleman with the cane. with some type of limited function. Take another step down the road, down the continuum, and there's perhaps more limited function and he's using a walker. And then the next step is even more limited function with perhaps a scooter, and ultimately perhaps a wheelchair. Now, the aging progression can be weeks, it can be days, or it can be years. And it's those families that we are guiding and helping for the balance of their loved one's life. The second row, the second line of our continuum deals with the residential options. So again, if we are independent, no cognitive or functional limitations, then you're living at home, you're on your own. But as you take the next step, perhaps there's some assistance. As I tell families and children all the time, you know, the family is usually the first caregiver, probably always the first level of care. It's an informal spouse helping, children stopping by, children living there and helping for the first period of time. Again, is it days, weeks, months, years? We don't know. Every person is different. But there does come a time as you go down the progression of the residential issue and the care issues, home with assistance, home with more assistance, perhaps assisted living, perhaps nursing home at the end of the spectrum. So the idea of care needs, the idea of receiving care, to me and to us here at Tully Law Group, it's really about that. It's about the care. That is the driver for what we do. And thank God we've been focusing on that for about 12 years at this point, 13 years almost. So when we meet with clients that have already sat with another elder law firm, or perhaps went there first to consult and see what can be done, what we have found, and I've got colleagues and friends that practice this model and they're doing fine and they're helping. But a traditional elder law firm, you're focusing on the legal and the financial. And the point of care is off to the side. And now we all know it's not really off to the side entirely, because what that means is it's on the family. And so when it comes to advocating for your loved one, when it comes to coordinating the care, coordinating the benefits, coordinating the providers, this is something the family is doing for the first time. They don't know what questions to ask. They don't know what's around the corner. They don't know what the options are. The healthcare system, the long-term care system, is a big machine. They have plenty of attorneys of their own to help them. And our job is to be your attorneys to help you through this process, to be your advocates through the process. So where we come in is we bring that care piece under, I missed the page there. We bring the care piece all into one pie, if you will. So we address the legal, we address the financial, just like every elder law firm out there. But where we're unique and where we focus so much on the families is the care aspect. We address it, we handle it, we hold hands, all under one roof here. And that's why we have Julie today. So to sum it up, the legal needs that a family has, the financial needs that a family has, the care needs that our client has, we focus on different goals. So on the legal side, protect those assets. That's what we're about. On the financial side, let's get that expensive care paid for. Let's get Medicaid involved. Let's make the client as eligible as soon as possible and get Medicaid to pay for the care. On the care side, how do we help your loved one get the best care possible? The different tools and strategies that we use in order to protect the assets, you'll typically hear us talk about an irrevocable trust. Not always, but usually. It's the most flexible, comprehensive tool we have. A power of attorney, worth its weight in gold. And I'll actually be talking about that next week, next Wednesday's webinar, because New York State is changing the power of attorney law. There's a whole new power of attorney form coming out in 2 months. All right. So if you want to learn more about that, be sure to register for next week's webinar. I think it's May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. On the financial side, how do we get the Medicaid paid for? Or how do we get Medicaid to pay for the care? It's going to be what's called community Medicaid or chronic care Medicaid. Community Medicaid is the personal care aid coming into the house, and chronic care Medicaid is that nursing home program. Both very valuable and important programs. But today we're here to talk about the care. How do we help our clients get the best care possible? And that right there is the elder care coordinators, all right, what we call ECCs, and that's Julie. When we put this all together, it's what's called life care planning. The attorneys handle the legal, the attorneys and the paralegals really handle the legal and the financial. Our care coordinators, our advocates, are the ones holding your hands and supporting you through the process, okay, of aging, of eligibility, of obtaining benefits, of getting the care in the house, okay? So with all that said, Julie, here we are. We are, as I've said before, grateful and blessed to have Julie with us.
Thank you.
So to introduce Julie, and I'm going to stop the screen share. So now you got me and Julie, big picture. What we're looking at, Julie, is, or folks, is Julie has been with us for my goodness, a little bit over a year at this point. But she has been in geriatrics for over 30 years. All aspects of elder care. She's been a geriatric social worker for over 30 years. The director of social work within skilled nursing facilities, within long-term care units, within community agencies. She's the one that will help, as well as we have two other care coordinators on staff as well, Sandra and Jessica, but Julie's one of our 3 care coordinators. Their job is to hold your hand, to tell you what's around the corner, to help navigate through the aging process, okay? So, Julie, with that said, some questions so that our audience can know a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and how you help. From your perspective, you as an elder care coordinator, what is your role? How do you see your role in advocating for clients and helping them through the process in our life care plan services?
So basically our role as the elder care coordinators is to help you identify care needs that either your loved one, yourself, your spouse may have, and how to plan for the things that are coming in down the pike as far as healthcare is concerned. So we do that through an assessment. It's called a geriatric care assessment. That's the first thing that we do when we meet you and when we engage with you as elder care coordinators. That helps create a baseline of information for you and your loved one. So we can help you figure out what care needs maybe need to be brought into your life to help out in the caring process. So sometimes family members and spouses are already doing that informal caregiving, but it's just becoming too much. So we then help you identify resources, different things that you can put in the home to try to figure out how to keep your loved one as safe as possible, as comfortable as possible, and to attain their highest quality of care where they're at right now in the aging process. So really, we wear many hats. We do education, we do support, we listen to people when they're at the end of their rope. We help and advocate. We basically help you through the continuum that Brian showed you, because it looks very simple on the continuum, but it's unfortunately a complex process. So we're there to help you understand it and help you meet you where you're at and where you're going to go in the aging process.
Right on. That's exactly how the clients do see it. And also what's important is if you've ever been online or researched or searched or Googled our name, if you see our reviews, I'd say over 40 of the reviews are all about the life care planning services, talking about peace of mind, talking about comprehensiveness, talking about holding hands. Yes, it's the attorneys, yes, it's the firm, but it is our care coordinators that are really supporting on that emotional care level, which is really what's so important to our caregivers and to our families. So Julie, give me please like a specific example of how a care coordinator would help, whether it's during the assessment or during the Medicaid eligibility process or even afterwards.
So, we help out through, like Brian said, all parts of the process. So when we're doing our geriatric care assessment, sometimes we think of things that our clients or their families have not thought about to bring into the home to help them out. So it could be something as simple as, let's make sure that there's a shower seat in there. Sometimes people don't even realize that there are adaptive equipment or things that they can bring into the home, to be able to kind of ease the burden. So sometimes it's environmental, such as something as simple as a piece of equipment. So if it's like a shower chair, we can help you obtain one. If somebody needs a walker or a different walker, like the home care says, oh, so-and-so needs a walker, then we can help get that in. So it can be something right from the beginning that we identify, something that may help you, help our clients, help our our seniors be able to be comfortable in their home. That moves all the way through the continuum. If the goal is to have Medicaid fund your care, we walk along that journey with the attorneys in getting that process going. So there are a variety of assessments that are done for community Medicaid. They're quite involved. They're quite extensive. They're about 250 questions. They can go anywhere from 2.5 to 3 hours. We prep you. We talk about that assessment. We go over the things to be expected in the assessment. So you have a really good understanding of what the assessment's going to be. It can be overwhelming for the client, for the family, for the caregivers. We're on the calls with you. We stand with you. We help explain to the people who are doing the assessments the situation that you're in. Once that care is funded and paid for, we then either help get care into the home by being in relationship with providers and home care agencies to get that care in. And even after all that is in place and everything is going well, we then continue to be present just to make sure everything's going okay, because at times things can be going rather smoothly and then we hit a bump. So it's when we hit the bump, we then, maintain interaction, we maintain contact. So when there's a bump, we can help you with the bump. So unfortunately, as people age, there tends to be bumps at times. So we just help you do that. Our clients who are in the home, sometimes illness occurs, they go into different areas of healthcare, such as the hospital, such as rehab centers. We follow you through that continuum and help you figure out and help you do the best that you can for yourself or your loved one while they're in different continuums of care. So we really walk the whole journey with you, regardless of where you go. That's where we go with you. So we can be standing with you, helping and supporting, educating, guiding, and advocating when all that is needed.
Correct. Wonderful. So and as you're saying all this, what all of those services and all that handholding and all that direction and support is priceless and very, very helpful. Now, the beauty of putting it all under one roof, the beauty of actually being on the same team with the attorneys is, I'm going to use the word priceless again, because what you're looking at is aging and elder care is fragmented enough. It is hard enough. And when you decide to go to an attorney here or a care person there or an agency here, and you try to cobble the team together yourself, the reality is not everybody's always going in the same direction. So when you bring in a law firm such as ours that focuses on elder care law, we have our attorneys and our care coordinators meeting at least weekly. I mean, meetings happening in the hallways and in the offices every day, every hour, in the kitchen. But there's a weekly meeting. Every single life care client is reviewed and discussed. We've got over 170 families that we're assisting on this life care system. And just having every attorney and advocate going in the same direction to help the family with the same tangible goal, it adds to the peace of mind that the family can feel and live with. So thank you, Julie. That's great. Now, you've mentioned this geriatric assessment a couple times, what we sometimes call an action plan. So can you talk about that a little bit? Now, I know it happens, of course, in the beginning of the engagement. That we use the same word. You just said baseline. So tell me more about the initial action plan and how that helps.
So the initial action plan literally goes over all aspects of a client's life. So we want to know about your medical history. We want to know any, places that you've been before you became engaged and involved with us. So any hospitalizations, any stays in rehab, any significant health issues. So we want to hear the journey that has brought you to us. Once we get that involved, we then talk about all the providers that are in your life. So any kind of physicians, any kind of services you may already be receiving, any kind of home care. What equipment do you currently have in the home? What is your current level of functioning? So we look at that, gets split into two areas. One's called activities of daily living and one's called independent activities of daily living. So the independent activity daily living is like the housekeeping, the laundry, the meal prep, medication management, finance, It's quite comprehensive. The activities of daily living is more like your personal care. So is somebody helping you get dressed? Is somebody helping you get in the shower? Do you need assistance, to walk? So all of that is extremely important so we can best tailor individually to you the kind of services and or supports you may need currently.
Mhm.
And then based on like your medical diagnosis, that kind of thing, we can try to prepare for and talk about things that may be coming in your future. So it's all about planning where you're at now.
Mhm.
It's planning for where you're going in your future based on that action plan baseline assessment. And it's very fluid. It changes. How you are today may not be how you are next month. I have a client who started out in the community doing pretty well, starting to need some assistance. His children he himself felt he needed some assistance. So we've gone from that to him having a significant surgery, a significant hospital stay, and a significant rehab stay. And now we're coming back home again. So as you can see, in a very short period of time, sometimes things change. So what the client needs, what our clients need can be always changing. So we always are there with the families to help them as things move and as things go through the continuum. But that baseline assessment kind of tells us where we're starting so we can see for where we may need to be going in the future.
Mhm. Great. And that can be updated, of course, as
That is
things
updated all the
things
time.
yeah, it's
All
updated,
the
it's a living
time.
document. Yep.
It is a living, breathing document. Who you are today may not be who you are in 2 weeks. And that's okay, unfortunately.
That can apply to any of us.
Yeah.
So this model where we have the attorneys, the paralegals, the advocates all working under one roof and providing one service to the family with one goal is really about, again, this service we call life care planning. So you've been sharing about it, but from your perspective, from a geriatric social worker's perspective, how is the life care planning firm different than what other firms are doing out there?
I have to tell you, as a geriatric social worker, I referred a great deal to elder law attorneys, regardless of where I was working. So I've worked in community agencies, I've worked in hospital settings, I've worked in skilled nursing settings. At some point when you work with seniors and their families, you are definitely referring to elder law attorneys. So what sets this model apart from all of that is you can go to the elder law attorney and they can do a fabulous job doing your estate planning, helping you get Medicaid, whatever the goal is for that. But then how you use what they've gotten for you is the piece that the elder care coordinator helps with. So I've never seen a model like it. It is a tremendous way to bring all the parts together, because a lot of families, a lot of clients, once they get the benefit, don't know how to access and use the benefit. And that's where care coordination becomes vital.
Mhm.
So we're the people that help you figure out how to go through this very complex care system involving Medicaid. So life care planning is unique. It is special. It is unbelievably how it gets tied together. And it really makes you think, gosh, why don't more people do this? Because it makes a lot of sense, because elder law attorneys I know would refer to social workers, but they're not sitting in the same house, so to speak, seeing everything go on. It's like Brian said, it's very piecemeal and it's very fragmented. Our care system is already like that. So to try to obtain care that way also makes it more difficult. Here, our goal and our hope and what we do is to make that less complicated for you by helping you go through the process.
Exactly. Great. So life care planning. So we began practicing that model 2008, officially 2009. So it's been 12 years where we've had a geriatric social worker and elder care coordinator on staff helping our clients. We were the first law firm in New York and generally really the only law firm in New York still practicing this in-house model where it's the legal and the advocacy all tied together in an annual all-inclusive service. But we're not the only ones that do it. I'm on the executive board and the president-elect for what's called the Life Care Planning Law Firms Association. It is a national organization that supports elder law firms when they have the same perspective, where they're going to have a care coordinator on staff So every member firm of the Life Care Planning Law Firms Association, and they're in almost every state. So, we have clients move, and one of the first things we do is try to help them find another LCP, another life care planning attorney in another firm, because it's going to be the same comprehensive model that we offer. So if you do have loved ones in other states, Life Care Planning Law Firms Association, there's a search bar. You could probably find an attorney, at least in that state. All right. So thanks, Jewel. Now you've shared benefits, you've shared how it works. Is there anything else you'd like to share as far as, having a care coordinator? I mean, we're very fortunate to have 3 of you, keeping our clients covered. You each have different specialties and backgrounds. You each can handle each type of care, whether it's home, whether it's facility-based, whether it's more hospice-based. But we have those that have specific experience in facilities. We have specific experience with community care, rehab centers, hospice facilities. Is there anything else, Julie, you can share as far as having the benefits of having somebody like you and Sandra and Jessica on staff?
So the benefit even to engaging in the life care plan process is if you're not even in a place where you're thinking about care in the home, or maybe your care isn't, maybe Medicaid doesn't need to be in your life or any other kind of entitlement, we're still a good place to have someone understand where you're currently at and where we may need to go. So not all of our clients engage in the Medicaid process. We have clients who engage us in life care planning because they need us to help them with their loved ones or with themselves figure out how they want their second half to go. So some of our clients, are in the beginning of the process and are just like living at home, know that they have some illnesses. So what can we do to keep them in the home? What can we do to make their home safer for them? What can we do to help them access any kind of services they may need? We look at clients in all kinds of different ways that they may need. They may be okay at home for a while, or they may need to go to assisted living. So we help clients and their families figure out what they need and then how to put that into action.
Right.
So, that's a wonderful part of the life care plan, is that you get social work, especially geriatric social work experience, to help you understand all aspects of the aging process.
Right. And we've not every life care planning client, like Julie said, is Medicaid. Some are paying for their care privately. Some are utilizing long-term care insurance and need assistance with that process, the claims process. So the life care planning service is not just about Medicaid. The vast majority of our clients need care. And then the question is, how are you going to pay for it? So is it going to be private payment, which can get very expensive, but we have a handful of clients that are paying privately, and we're still doing asset protection for down the road. We're doing estate planning. We're doing incapacity planning. And Julie and her team are doing the advocacy and the navigating. Now, for those that don't need care, all right, perhaps a life care plan is not the best service that we offer. So then we would take a step to the left a little bit down the continuum, and we focus on preparing for care down the road. So for our clients that are in their 60s and don't yet need care, we focus on asset protection. We focus on incapacity planning for down the road. We focus on preparing for needing the care. And that's what we call an elder care protection plan. That's going to be that irrevocable trust. So that's really step 2 when it comes to planning your future. Life care planning would be step 3. Just general estate planning for those adults under 60s is going to be more about probate avoidance, revocable trusts, wills, powers of attorney. So estate planning, then our elder care protection plan service, which does give you access to our advocates for questions and referrals. And then, of course, the life care service, where we actually need the care. It gets a little more heavy duty. So Julie, last question.
Sure.
Once the care is in place, okay, and the Medicaid process can take months. And Medicaid eligibility, folks, a whole nother can of worms. I've been doing these webinars for a year, ever since the pandemic started. If you do want to know more about Medicaid eligibility, you want to know more about irrevocable trusts, again, go to the webinar, the video tab on our website, tullyelderlaw.com, click on webinars. We talk about irrevocable trusts. We talk about powers of attorney. We talk about Medicaid eligibility, the new community Medicaid rules that are out, all on the website. But Julie, once the care is actually in place,
Mhm.
I've had clients say, and of course I'll answer the question, but I would love to hear your perspective. Then what do you guys do? How do you help once Medicaid is set? Well,
So
it's never really set, is it?
no, first of all, it's never really set. Second of all, that it just doesn't stop there because care's in. So there are always issues that crop up. So it could be, related to care or not related to care. So, sometimes there's difficulties or challenges with the agencies that are providing the care. Sometimes there's difficult and challenges, with the managed long-term care companies. We then step in and we help you advocate, we help, broker and bridge on how to keep all those systems working fluidly. It would be very nice once care is in that everything kind of stayed at this level, but it doesn't. As people age in the continuum, crisis comes up, things come up. Unfortunately, hospitalizations come up, rehab stays come up. Sometimes people who are living in the community with services in place have an acute illness. So we follow them into the hospitals. We work with the discharge planners, with the families to get the clients and their families to the best possible. Sometimes that's back home again. Sometimes it's to a short-term rehab center. Sometimes our clients are able to, unfortunately, not return to home-based living. So then we have to help the families figure out, are we going to assisted livings? Are we going to stay, unfortunately, in long-term care? Regardless of where our clients end up, we go with them. So if for some reason our client is unable to return to the community, we continue to remain in relationship with the client, the family, and wherever they're at in that continuum. So that means staying in contact with assisted livings, with skilled nursing facilities, throughout all of that. So we maintain relationships with all of those entities to help our clients figure out where their needs are going to be met the best. And then we stay with them in those relationships to make sure everything's going okay, because it's new. So when somebody's been living in the community and then need to live in a different kind of setting, they need help figuring out how to navigate that. So, so that's part of what we do, is we help them navigate wherever they're at.
Absolutely. So when I'm speaking to clients initially about our service and how we can help on all these different fronts, and again, life care planning is an annual based service where the client, the family, has the option, the ability to stay on board after the first year if they choose. And the client will say, okay, but why? And because just as many ups and downs as you've had over the last year with your loved one, you're going to have over the next year. In addition, Medicaid doesn't go away. Every 12 months, there's going to be a new application. It's a smaller application. It's what's called a recertification. Every 6 to 12 months, there's going to be another Medicaid New York nurse coming in to assess, or at least FaceTime, and we'll be there holding hands through that whole process. In addition, if your loved one does decline a little bit, if there's a hospitalization, if there is a rehab stay, we're there all along the way. If there is a discussion about hospice or palliative care, end of life questions, these ladies have done all of this work for hundreds of families. You may be going through this for the first time. They've done it before and they can help. So staying on board, allowing us to continue to assist after the initial term is very valuable. In fact, I'd say close to 95% of our clients do stay on board. But with that said, as we almost start to wrap up here, if there's any questions, if you'd like to put them in the chat box, questions for Julie or myself about care, about those issues, we'd be happy to answer them. Before we get off, Julie, thank you very much. I
Very
know
welcome.
you've got clients waiting to talk to you.
Yes.
But don't go anywhere just yet. Let's see
Okay.
if there's any questions here. And that's our contact information. Of course, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me directly. Brian, B-R-I-A-N @ tullyelderlaw.com. 631-424-2800 is going to be the office phone number. Let's see questions. We've got one question here about Medicare and supplemental insurance and income. So not so much for Julie, but happy to answer it briefly. If somebody is at home and needs Medicaid home care, Malene, what we're able to do is shelter the income, all right? Generally speaking, we can shelter the income with what's called a pooled supplemental needs trust. If the person's going into a facility, a nursing home, it's a different story, unfortunately. The Medicaid rules require all but $50 get paid to the facility. In both circumstances, though, you should keep your Medicare supplemental insurance, pay for that. But that's it in a nutshell. I could be happy to talk to you about it more, or perhaps schedule a consultation just to talk more in depth. No other direct questions. So I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us. We'll be doing, from this point forward, every Wednesday, we're going to have an event, okay? We'll be starting a Q&A where I can speak directly with the attendees. We'll be starting, keep an eye out for that in the email or the events calendar. And then every fourth Wednesday of the month, we'll be having guests in residential options, assisted living, reverse mortgages, long-term care insurance, daily money management, anything you can think of in regard to aging. And we'll start getting national on this because it's Zoom, so we can bring in some experts from across the country, all right? So again, thank you for spending some time with us. Thank you again, Julie. It's been a
You're
great
welcome.
pleasure.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes, stay well, everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Where's my button here? I lost my button. Hold on. That's that. There we go. Bye, everybody.